Hello, and welcome to the Panther Tales podcast. I'm your host, Jack Aham, with co-host Parker Hecht.
This is a segmented podcast where each episode will be new and different from the last.
So today's episode, my
Are you
bad.
good? You good?
We're starting things fresh, and we're gonna test out the new personalized segments for everyone here.
Yeah. Me and Jack both have a new, um, whoa, a new personalized segment. We're starting off with mine first. So let's head on to Web Showcase.
Have you ever wondered the deeper meaning behind some of the stories or poems that you've read? Well, we'll answer that for you.
Because today we are talking about the short story "What We Talk About When We Talk About Love" by Raymond Carver, written in 1981.
That is correct. So, Parker, do you want to start off with your thoughts?
Yes, I will, Jack. So, first of all, it was actually very interesting. It was four people, all, well, okay. It was four people together in a house, right?
Yeah, the setting
Yeah.
was
They were
uh,
in,
the characters are Mel McGinnis,
Mel
uh,
McGinnis,
Teresa Terry, formerly referred to as Terry for the remainder of this segment, Nick,
yeah,
and Laura.
yeah. So, they're all at, I want to say Mel's house, right?
I think that is correct.
Yeah. So they're all there. They're all just like having a good time, having conversations with each other. And then um Mel starts talking about a story. This is a summarization of the book right now.
Synopsis, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yes. So it's basically what um all four characters mean, and like what, I don't want to say what they believe, but I mean it is basically what they believe the word love means.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go a bit in depth, and Parker, you're gonna have to try to scramble to figure out what I just said. So basically, the narrator of the story is Nick. You find this out like roughly halfway through. He never says anything, but one of the key aspects of it is it begins with the phrase, Mel McGinnis was talking. Immediately, that establishes him as this like figure, and immediately you know, okay, one character is Mel McGinnis. We need to make sure we know who he is. And when you read the story, you realize, well, Nick is the narrator. The protagonist is Mel. He's the one who's talking the most and giving the most information. And I think one of the most interesting things that I feel like, Parker, I don't know if you caught, but each character basically describes what they think love is to them. Like, for example, Terry was previously in an abusive relationship, and but she still believes, even though she was physically abused, like being dragged around in the living room and being hit against things, that she was loved. Whereas Mel, her now husband, his and Terry being his second wife, Mel doesn't think it's love. And that's because Mel is a cardiologist. He is specifically a heart doctor. He is used to fixing and repairing hearts. But the problem with that is he you need to delve a bit deeper into this to kind of like read it. But through his ramblings, he basically described how he is kind of unable to describe what love is because in his eyes, love is simply the time you spend with a certain person. Like two kind of paraphrase the story, Mel basically says that if any of them were to lose like someone they cared about or loved, this is two couples by the way, Nick and Laura, Mel and Terry. If one of them were to lose the other, yes, they would surely grieve, but eventually they would find another person. And another thing that was said, it's not really related, but I kind of want to bring it up. Mel just kind of directly looks at his wife and his best friend and says, "Hey, wife, if you weren't here, if I didn't love you, and friend, if you were my friend, I would date your wife." He just flat out says that.
That part made me laugh.
Yeah, no,
Like that was
and just how much they talk and the way they speak to each other. It's just like you know that poor Nick is getting robbed. We'll say
yeah.
robbed, cheated on. We'll say possibly, quite possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, Mel doesn't quite understand what love is and can't really see it as anything more than time, and he doesn't understand Laura and Nick's relationship and describes it as a glow. He doesn't get it on a like understandable physical level. He can't understand anything beyond just logic and reason.
You took some words out of my mouth there, so I'm kind of just gonna piggyback off of what you said.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
I found it really
I told
interesting.
you to carry me on this segment, and you've done that. I'm leaving that in, by the way.
All right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, so Mel doesn't like explicitly. Whoa,
Explicitly.
thank you. State what he means by love. You have to kind of try and figure that out a little bit. Terry basically says that in a way, but then um, Nick and Terry, not Terry,
Laura.
Laura, um, Mel and Terry basically state that they are still in the quote honeymoon phase of their relationship.
Yes.
Um, and they're surprised by the fact that Nick and Laura have been together for as long as they have.
I think it's less
So
of surprise and they're more of like, hey, remember, you're still in the honeymoon phase,
yeah,
but there is nothing wrong with what you said. I'm pretty sure what you said is still factually accurate. I'm just,
yeah,
it was less of they were like, how are you two together? It's more of like, hey, remember, even though you are somehow miraculously still together, yeah.
yeah.
I feel like another point can be made with how we, at some point, we kind of realized, like, through the, like, author's narrations, the narrator will say, Nick, um, there are many times within it where he describes how he feels for Laura or actions. Like he'll randomly just like describe Laura as this like beautiful figure, and kind of through that we can realize that Nick finds beauty in like physical attributes, kind of. And like I think I remember reading, paraphrasing again, that Terry's form of love is, in quote from Mel, "Kick me so I know you love me." The only person who I can't fully remember if they say how or interpret in some way is Laura. Laura, I don't quite know.
Sorry, I blinked for a sec. No, I'm rereading kind of just like the part that you just described, and it was Mel saying, "quote Terry's of the kick me so I'll know you love
All right.
me," end quote.
Yeah.
You got it dead on.
I'm surprised.
The point we're trying to make is nobody really explicitly
Explicitly.
says how they view love. It's just that.
Yeah.
Like they give hints at it and everything, I mean, Terry does say that, at least like in the story. Mel says it for Terry, but like you know what
Yeah.
I mean. Um, but yeah, like it isn't just like there, right in front of you. You have to do a little thinking and digging to figure it out.
Yeah. And like the meaning behind the story is basically just, and I knew this before reading it. It was actually on my watch list, and then it was suggested. Basically, love has no like concrete like explanation, and is a bit is too complex to really define. And like there are a bunch of different kind of emotions that come with love. There's hatred, there's anger, there's happiness, and it's just a complex feeling that cannot be put in a simple box.
All right, so I think that about covers everything we had on the short story. What we talk about when we talk about love. So I say it is time to head on to your segment, which is hot takes.
Welcome to Hot Takes, the debate segment to this podcast. Today I'm here with Jeannie Pressler. Do you want to introduce yourself in your hot takes? Though you've already kind of done that in a previous segment.
Hi, my name is Jeannie Pressler. I'm a junior at Griffith High School, and my hot take is that the Griffith Choir kids are better than the Griffith Band kids.
Now, I want to get your input first. Why do you think the choir kids are better than the band kids?
So I may be sort of biased because I am in the Griffith Choir, but since I've been in the Griffith Choir for quite a few years, one reason why we're better than the band kids is because we have more of a turnout at our concerts. We also work very effectively together because we work on 4 different sections and we also blend very well together.
Mm. So I see you went with a more like, to begin with, you kind of started out with like the concerts and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And while I don't actually know the statistics on that, I do want to rebuttal the point where you said that you have to sing in like 4 different groups, because in bands they also need to do that. They have percussion, they have
Mm-hmm.
wind. I unfortunately don't know too many, but I know there is percussion, there is percussion, string, wind. There's,
I think brass is one of
yeah,
them.
brass. So they also have to do in 4 segments.
Mm-hmm.
And something else to band that choir kids don't have is they need to do much more in depth with what they're learning in order to perform. Where choir kids, they have marks and instruments. When it comes to music, there's chords, there's like different pitches that they have to swap in the middle. They can't really like gradually raise their voice or lower their voice.
Another way to back up like my point is that like sometimes in choir we have to learn like different languages in our songs. So that means like we have to like we're not just singing in English, we're learning completely different languages. Like a couple of our kids in solo and ensemble, we've had to learn like German, Italian. So we're not just learn like we have to like learn a completely different language. So that could also include like diction, like what's like specific consonants and vowels we have to emphasize, because usually in English you know which vowels and consonants you want to emphasize, but completely different in Italian or like German.
So, different yeah, that's a pretty good point for skill. Um, well, I feel like you do kind of misrepresent it by saying you learn another language, where in reality it's much more of a, you learn certain words in a language and how to pronounce them. And I'm assuming that you also learn the meaning behind the words
Yes.
to better perform and put emotion into the song. But even then, you're still learning kind of like what I can't really think of a German word. Like you're learning that like uh bitte is please, but you're not really learning German. You're learning like the words and their context within song. And I think my next point and possibly final point is songs are made of both singing and music.
Mm-hmm.
However, there is a large quantity of like music out there that is simply instrumental, meaning that being able to play an instrument has a higher chance of taking you farther in the music genre, contrary to choir and singing.
Hmm. So to like rebuttal for your point, a lot of singers they're more popular than musicians because you can see like people like Taylor Swift, Tyler the Creator, The Weeknd. They're more well known than like probably your well known musicians, especially like and it's like same thing in musicals. You don't really know the musicians, but you know the actors.
And that is a fair point.
Hmm.
Musicians are the face of it. They're the person who's actually like performing the song, but how would you be able to know how to shake it off if there was no musicians to back up that beat?
That's true, cause like when I was in the musical, we like it was really important for our band to be there.
So, do you have any more further points?
I don't really have any more sorry further points.
All right then. Well, to the listeners out there, pick which side that you think is better. Uh, Based on biases or what we said, it's up to you. If you want, I'm pretty sure our website allows comments to be put. You can say which side you think wins. And Jeannie, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
Now let's head over to Archive Adventure. It is time to dig the archives and see what has been lost or forgotten.
This segment, we will discuss lost or nostalgic media from the past and review them. Today, it really isn't like
It's not really lost
it's not really
media.
lost or forgotten. We're talking about the original Super Mario Brothers today.
Yeah. Mario, also known as the father of video games.
Yeah, pretty much. Or okay, it's not so much just Mario, it's like kind of Nintendo as a whole, but Mario really started Nintendo. Like it made them like very popular, especially around the world.
Nintendo was originally a toy company.
And yeah,
Yeah.
they originally had trading cards,
Yeah. And that's what kind
and
of
then
brought their intrigue to Pokemon.
yeah, and then who knows what happened from there. No, and then they just like they started making games here and there, and then they came out with Mario, and it was popular throughout the whole world. They then proceeded to make one more official Mario game for the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. You're looking at me like I'm wrong about something.
No, I just know exactly what you're referring to, and I know what that game is.
So,
Broad.
okay, there's Super Mario Bros. And then there's Super Mario Bros. 3. And then in the middle, it's technically not Super Mario Bros. 2. It's a knockoff of a video game made in Japan.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called off the top of my head.
But there is actually an official Super Mario Bros. 2 game.
There is. It's actually called the Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels, and it's basically it runs just like the first Mario Bros. It's harder.
Much more difficult, and so difficult, in fact, that they did outsource to Japan to get a Mario version of the game.
Yes, that game is both really good and really bad at the same time. Sorry, Nintendo.
Yeah.
No hard feelings.
To kind of go back to the original, to basically explain how pivotal Mario was, he came out right at the turn where video games started becoming like no one wanted to play them. If Mario didn't come out, very likely video gaming would not be the way it is now because of how like much people despised video games before Mario came out.
Yeah, I mean, video gaming just in general was just like dying. It's what?
We're both just swaying back and forth in our
Oh,
chair,
we are.
rotating.
Anyways, but so no, gaming was just dying as a whole. Nobody was interested in it. There were a lot of bad games coming out at that time. Again, sorry to all those companies. A lot of those companies just don't exist anymore. They're bought by Nintendo.
That is true.
But no, the original Super Mario Bros. Was it's the most important video game in video game history, pretty much.
Yeah,
It's up there at least.
I'd say it's next to Pong,
Yeah.
the first ever video game, and technically Minecraft, as it is the most popular video game in the world. I think
Yeah.
35 billion copies sold.
Yeah.
Runner up is GTA 5 with somewhere in the 26.
Yep. That's gonna skyrocket with GTA 6, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the original Super Mario Bros. Which, I mean, do you have anything else?
I mean, it's one of the easiest games to play and get access to. You can get it for free if you own the Switch, with the like old game pack, but actually that comes with the online. Never mind,
Yeah.
that's not free. But like,
There's emulators that
Well-
you can get for free that you could just play it. There's online websites where you could play it for free.
technically speaking, emulating is illegal. However, Nintendo doesn't make a way to actually play their older games, so it's entirely okay.
Yeah.
And
Thanks,
most of the time,
Nintendo.
yeah, thanks Nintendo.
Yeah.
I think the funniest part is they could just on Switch just say, "Hey, screw you! Here's a $60 bundle of all of our old games."
Yeah.
And genuinely, I'd buy it because
yeah, I would too.
I would like an easy way to play those games. But luckily now they just have the membership.
All right, Jack. Well, I think that covers it. I think that's it.
I think that is
yeah.
for our probably longest episode, excluding our in-person one.
Yeah. So,
We will see
There it
you
is,
in
yeah.
episode 4.
bye.